And let's get right to the legendary Brad Sham. Oh, there he is. Hey, Brad.
Hey, Matt.
Hey, good to have you.
Thanks. You too.
I appreciate it. Boy, look at those books up there. If I only could know. I hope there's like a Frank Luxa book up there or something. You know, some of the greats, or Sam Blair, or some of my old, or Blackie. Did Blackie? I think.
This is the sports shelf, or one of the sports shelves. I've got Al Michaels and Joe Buck and Bill Veeck and Yogi Berra and Tim Kirkjian. I got a Tim Kirkjian, Dan Jenkins.
Isn't that amazing to think that a lot of those guys you just mentioned worked in the Metroplex? Now we lost, Dan. That would have gone way back to when he was in the Metroplex. But that Fort Worth Press, I believe it was called.
Yeah.
At one point, Blackie's there, Dan's there. I think a guy named like Jerry Todd.
Yeah, Jerry Todd, who later became a very, very successful PR guy in Fort Worth, and Bud Shrake.
Mm-hmm. Gary Cartwright. Yeah. Who, man, back in the day, those guys could be kind of mean. I think Don Meredith found that out, and it's just amazing to read some of those old stories, Brad. But very famously, after one game, I think it was Gary wrote something about, and they, back then the writers a lot of times had really good friendships with the players, and had quite a bit more access than we enjoy now. But those were they were great writers. They also like to have a great time, and so there could be some pretty mean things that were printed from time to time.
It was part of the gig, and then they would go out and drink together. Randy Galloway was one of the great ones to teach me. When I first met Randy 50 years ago, when he was, I think, the baseball beat writer at the Dallas Morning News. He would write something really nasty about somebody and make sure that he put himself in that guy's direct line of fire the next day.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a great lesson to me, that, if you say something bad about someone, if it's fair, don't hide, just show up. That's how you have an ongoing working professional relationship.
When was the first time that ever happened to you in your play-by-play career or your talk radio career? Was there ever an opinion or something you said where somebody was quickly looking for you and wanting to address that you recall?
The first time it ever happened to me was actually that second year of the Rangers' existence, and I was just a little baby reporter for a radio station in Dallas that doesn't exist anymore. And Whitey Herzog was the manager, and a bunch of us they'd lost a game. A bunch of us were in his office around the desk after the game, and there was a great deal of uncertainty about who was going to handle a ball that was, I don't know if it was bunted or just a swinging bunt that was hit between David Clyde and Larry Bittner, who was playing. And I was 24, something like that. And I asked Herzog, now who did you want handling that ball? And Herzog bit my head off. And the next day, I was in the dugout before the game, and he came out. I'll never forget. He had his hat jammed way down on his head. He was very uncomfortable, but he came looking for me, and I was nobody. He didn't have to do it, but he knew I was there every night, and he came looking for me, and he apologized for how he spoke to me. So I did have an incident that is one of my all-time favorites. In the would have been in the late 70s or early 80s, and I was working with Vern Lundquist on the Cowboys broadcast, and they played a Monday night game in New England. And I believe Steve Grogan was quarterbacking the Patriots, and so he completes a deep ball down the left sideline to the tight end, Russ Francis, who runs about 40 yards. Now, I see, as Vern is describing the play, and I'm seeing the field, and the Cowboys' strong safety, who normally covers the tight end, Charlie Waters, is coming all the way across the field. So I said, well, it looks like maybe Waters blew that coverage or mixed it up or something. Now, clearly, Charlie didn't hear what I said because he was on the field when I said it.
Mm-hmm.
That was a Monday night. The next Thursday, I'm at the Cowboys practice field, the old practice field on Forest Lane, and Charlie and I are dear friends. Charlie came looking for him, and he got right up in my grill, and he shooed me up one side and down the other. Wasn't even my guy, and you don't know what to do. And the first thing I thought of was, well, how the hell do you even know what I said? And, that was a great lesson that people are listening, and they will tell the player, and they will probably not tell him exactly what you said.
Yeah.
The other lesson that was really a good one for me, though, was that especially in football, maybe 90% in football, what you think you see is not necessarily what's going on, because you don't know what the coverage is. You don't know what the assignment was. So it looks like somebody missed a block. You don't know if there was a combo block that the next guy didn't pick up. If a running back runs into a stack, you don't know if he hit the wrong hole, someone missed a block. And if you go back and watch tape of some of these plays, you can see sometimes a play breaks down because this happened 2 years ago. I was watching a game, and I was watching it back after the game, and the first play had just blown up. They'd run the ball, and it turned out, as they tried to run it like in between the guards in the center, the tight end on one side was supposed to block a linebacker, just whiffed, and that guy ran right by the tight end, and he came down and made the tackle. Well, you don't see that live. That's why you watch the tape. And so those things are great lessons. And in football, and I think fans and media fall into this trap all the time. You look at it, you see what you think you see, and you therefore know. Well, you don't know. That's why you have to look at the tape. You have to ask later. And that was very instructive.
Charlie came after me one time after a Ring of Honor story that I had written, and the triplets were going to go into the Ring of Honor. And Charlie had commented how they were kind of moving past some of the older players. And of course, the headline that they put on the story at the Dallas Morning News was Waters Rips Jones. And, players don't want to hear that we don't write the headlines, do they? They, once your name, there's only one name anywhere close to that story. And so I heard him one morning on Norm as I was listening to Norm Hitzges saying something to the effect, I guess Mosley wants to work for the National Enquirer now. And may not have been the only time somebody had thought that before.
It is not their job to know how the business. There's a great somewhere in this cluttered mess of an old desk I've got over here. I've got a phenomenal. It's a cassette, actually. I may or may not have had it transferred to a CD of some of the great obscene and off-color rants. And one of them is a great one from Sparky Anderson, the late, great Sparky Anderson, when he was managing the Reds. And they went into L.A., and he was from Thousand Oaks. And so the L.A. Times had written something in the headline about the Reds or Anderson or something. And the writer from that paper showed up, and Sparky never raised his voice, but he just proceeded to say, hey, look, that was bleep bleep. And the headline that, I've got people who live here, and, you try to be nice to blanking writers, and then they turn around and blank you. And that's just not, and the guy said, well, Spark, I don't write the headline. I don't care, except he didn't say care. Sure. But they don't, that's not their job to know. That's just part of the business.
Who was managing the Rangers? That 1 year you stepped away from the Cowboys and did
three. It was 3
years. Okay.
Yeah, it was Johnny Oates who said one of the greatest things to me that has ever been said. to me, and it's something that I remember and repeat often. I would go down with all the other writers around the batting cage before the next day's game, and you would, everybody would ask him questions, and so one day I said something like, "So, hey, Skip, that pitching change, now Eric Nadel had already done this on the manager's show, but this was for the benefit of all the other writers." I said, "So Skip, that pitching change last night, why this, that?" And he just looked at me very evenly. He was a very low key guy. He just looked at me and he said, "Well, that's why I'm down here and you're up there." And I repeat it all the time. That's why I'm up here and they're down there.
Oh man, Johnny Oates, the late great Johnny Oates. Hey, by the to the Cowboys, and when you were covering the Rangers, I was remembering some of those weird, like O.W. McDowell had a weird injury. I think he was like buttering a roll or something.
I was still doing the Cowboys then, I think, but it was at the season. The Rangers, they used to have a like a kickoff luncheon.
Yeah,
a big fan. He was buttering a roll and he cut his finger with a butter knife. Took a big smoke out of it. He was out for a while.
And then it may have been Greg Harris. Somebody was flicking sunflower seeds one time and hurt themselves, but it made me think of those things because Trayvon Diggs is announced that he's going to be out of this game with a concussion. And Brad, this is under the file of there's always something. There's always something. And of course, coaches throughout the year, you're going to have different things pop up. But even by Cowboy standards, this seems somewhat bizarre. He had a concussion. He had an accident at the house. Coach, did he go to the hospital? I don't know yet. Been in meetings. Coach, what did they say? Did he fall down? Don't know. Don't know the details on it yet. Writers then go, Brad, as you know, and check every precinct in town. Make sure there's not a police report out there. But again, for a defense that's struggling in a big way, this is yet another setback. How did that news hit you today when you heard Shotty announce that? Was it kind of one of those like, well, there's always something?
Yeah, but frankly, there's always something with this team right now. And then there's kind of always something with Diggs. He's got this ailment and that ailment. And, hey, I have no idea what happened. You said bizarre. I won't call it bizarre because I don't know what happened. I mean, he could have tripped. I've got a little plastic pad here under my chair at this desk. And if I step wrong, I can catch my shoe on one end of it. And I did this about 2 weeks ago, and there was nobody here but me, fortunately, but I tripped and just fell over sideways, almost knocked my printer off the table, and stuff happens. So it could have been anything. He could have fallen. Maybe someone hit him in the head with a skillet. Maybe he fell down the stairs. Who knows? It really doesn't matter. I mean, he wasn't playing. He's not playing that well. I don't think he's that healthy yet. And that being said, he has the closest thing to an interception by a cornerback this year. So it won't make them better for Sunday, but I don't know how well he was playing, and it certainly will be a setback for him to miss any time at all. But there's more than half a year for him to still be productive and have a good year. But yeah, it is always something.
Have you seen a Cowboys defense over the years look this lost? I mean, that Mike Nolan situation was not great.
I think it too. And the 2020 year was that was a staff that didn't have a clue. They had bad players in the wrong position. It was the COVID year, so they didn't have a training camp to speak of, but it was that for everybody. And I remember saying to people and to myself that year, you can be bad, but you don't have to be historically bad. And that one was. But they also had a year in I don't remember exactly what year it was, but it had to be after Wade Phillips, because Monty Kiffin was the defensive coordinator, and he was kind of near the end of his career, and I don't know if that was the way for them to get the great defensive line coach who came with him,
Marinelli.
Rod Marinelli, who became the defensive coordinator. And I think most of that year, after it got real bad, I think actually Marinelli was calling the defenses. But that Monty Kiffin defense was really, really bad. So this is a combination of a lot of things. It's a combination of the players not being good enough to begin with. I thought cornerback was a disaster position coming into the year. Nobody knew about Kyer Elam. And then Bland got hurt, so Bland is playing, but I don't think he's himself yet. They didn't re-sign Jordan Lewis, and he was the glue. But I'm not sure that he had the physical dimensions that Eberflus liked anyway. Although the guy they got playing in the slot, Reddy Stewart, right now, who's playing one of the best of any of their defensive backs, he's not a big guy. But they don't have Overshown. They've had a couple of defensive ends who have just completely let them down. I mean, they knew when they traded Parsons that they would miss him, but they were expecting something from Sam Williams and Dante Fowler, and Fowler's had one good game, and I don't know if Williams has had one yet. And so they've got no pressure from those guys. So there's different things they can try. You cannot change all the players in the middle of the year, and you can't go to a new scheme in the middle of the year either. Even on a bye week, you can't do it. But you can do some things differently. So we'll see what some of those things might be Sunday. They got to do something, or they don't have to. They can continue playing real bad. I mean, that's a choice.
If Jerry were if he was going to make a trade, Brad, what do you? I mean, like, it's hard to pick out, isn't it? They're so bad on defense, and the linebackers and the run defense was so horrible against the Panthers. I think with a few years ago, in 2018, you knew what you needed. You desperately needed a receiver. That trade for Amari Cooper, a first-round pick, worked, and they actually ended up winning the division that season. It really feels like right now, even though they have the ammunition, it's hard to pick, like, okay, if they got this would fix the defense.
One thing won't fix the defense. But the thing about talking about a trade is, tell me, a pass rusher would be great. Tell me who.
The guy they just got the guy they just traded. I guess Max Crosby or Hendrickson or somebody like that.
Going on with that, but tell me which helpful pass rusher would be available, and then tell me for what price. Like, you might be able to get Trey Hendrickson from Cincinnati. Mm-hmm. He's 31, I think. He's still a very good player, but I don't know how many years he's got left, and that would be a rental because he just did a 1-year deal with the Bengals. So how much do you want to pay for a rental? You need multiple things to happen for your defense to be good enough. That doesn't mean they shouldn't explore it. I hope they do explore it and see what's out there. I don't know the answer. They're paying people a lot of money to put boards together and tell them what players are available. That I don't think people are not. It's like offensive tackles, Matt. People are not throwing those things away if they're good when they're keeping them. So you just got to see what team is going badly that maybe they would like to pick up a couple of draft choices. Yeah. And then how long are you going to have that player? Because if it's only a rental, then don't give up too much.
Yeah. Well, you're getting CeeDee Lamb back on offense. It's one of the better offenses, if not the best, in the NFL right now. Dak may be having one of his best seasons. He was an MVP candidate in 2023. So on one hand, Brad, you got one side of the ball and this new head coach, and that's his side of the ball playing so well. It's kind of fascinating to watch this play out. I mean, I think Shotty has to know right now, the way this thing's going, what he every game he needs to score 30 or more points to really have any chance to win, and he has to call plays and manage games accordingly. I think he was just asked about that, within the past 24 hours. But that's that really seems to be the only path forward right now.
Right now, look, I don't know what things they'll tweak during the week, and maybe, they played better defensively against the Jets, although the run defense fell apart in the second half and then continued last week. But they've given up way too many big plays, and most of that problem is I think their players aren't good enough, and then the ones that they have are not playing well. But it's also true, I had this conversation with Schottenheimer just today, it's also true, like last week, yeah, clearly the defense was horrible and gave them no chance to win. And as both he and Prescott said right after the game, the last two possessions of the game, they came up empty. They kicked a field goal when they had the ball in the red zone. Then they went backwards when they got the ball back. And if they had, and that they didn't expect that to happen. So if they'd scored again there, I mean, it's a heck of a deal if you got to score, 35 points to win, but that might be where they are. But the fact is that they did not do that on the last two possessions of the game in Carolina. And against the Jets, they were dynamite the first half. And the second half, I don't think they did anything. I think they punted every time. They might have kicked a field goal. So they really – and I asked Schottenheimer, I said, don't let Eberflus have all the fun. Are you looking at, what you can do to play better, or at the rate at which your unit is performing, is that even possible? He said, you bet it's possible. And he agreed. So now, personnel will help. Lamb will be back, and I think Booker will be back for this game, and Turpin will be back. And they've found out more that they can do with Pickens, and they've discovered Flanoy. So there's a lot. They haven't really had an opportunity to get Blue involved yet. So there are things they can do to be even better offensively. But you're right. The reality at the moment, these things change from week to week.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality at the moment is the defense is not playing well enough to allow him to call certain plays or do certain things to play to them. He's got to look at it like he's got to score all the time. And that's hard. That's a hard way to make it.
Yeah. If they could get this thing fixed just a little bit on defense, the way the NFC East is looking is it's not looking as great as we thought it was to start the season, or as some people would say, with some, really good quarterbacking, defending Super Bowl champs, seeming to have a little bit of a hangover. Boy, there's some opportunities. And you're right. The week-to-week thing of this is the crazy part, right? Because 3-3-1 coming off the Washington win over Washington, you're right there with Washington.
You're in second place.
Yes.
You're in second place. And, I think the Eagles will play better. And they're still a team to beat. But, hey, you don't know. Just play the season. You got to go 1 week at a time. And fans don't do that. People in our business don't do that very much. But that is the way to do it. You do everything you can this week, and then next week you'll have a whole new set of challenges and decisions.
Yeah. It's amazing to me to think back over these last 20 years and to think how with an undrafted quarterback and a fourth-round pick, they've had borderline elite, or maybe we could call it elite. A lot of the time, it was elite quarterback play. And I think that's probably one of the things that drives Jerry the most nuts. They couldn't do it. They couldn't quite break through with Tony. And they haven't been able to do it with Dak. And Dak still seems to be in his prime, seems to be well within his prime, and yet they don't have anything to show for it. And it's kind of an amazing thing to look at some of these other teams that Cleveland, just go through people constantly, the churn of quarterbacks. And this franchise has had 20 years of competent, excellent quarterback play. Yeah.
They have certainly, they've tried to draft defensive players. They have not done it with the success that they have in the last few years, especially with offensive players. And they had Van Der Esch was supposed to still be playing. That's just bad luck. He had this neck condition, and so now he can't play. I mean, I don't get mad at him for too many draft choices because those things are a coin flip most of the time. The only draft choice for which I will never forgive them is passing on T.J. Watt. I had seen him in the Cotton Bowl. It was completely obvious that he was going to be a star like he was at Wisconsin. And Rod Marinelli did not think that he fit his system. And so they took Taco Charlton instead. And I won't, that's why I won't forgive that one. That I like to say, Stevie Wonder could have seen that coming. I mean, that was obvious. But most of the time, look, sometimes when you're drafting, people do forget this. I understand everybody wants to be deep in the playoffs. Everyone wants to hold up the trophy. I get it. They were 12-5 3 years in a row, and in the playoffs 3 years in a row under McCarthy, and those two things had not happened for this franchise in 30 years. So don't tell me they didn't accomplish anything. They didn't go as far as they wanted to. They didn't go as far as people want them to. But don't say they accomplish anything. Yeah. And one of the things that happens when you are successful like that is that you are drafting in the mid to low 20s. And most of the time, most teams will have 16 to 18 players tops with first round grades every year. Not just them, every year. So if you're drafting 20 or below, you're using a first round pick on a second round player. That's just how it is. And that's one of the things that happens when you have success 3 years in a row. So they didn't have success last year, and it looks like with Booker they've got a player, and I still think with Ezeraku, you can just put the tape on and see him getting better.
Yeah.
And he's going to be a really good player. Hope Ravel gets on the field sometime. Heard great things.
Yeah.
But in 3 years we might look back and see that Overshown's been healthy and an All-Pro, and Ezeraku is, a double-digit sack guy, and Ravel is a sticky-fingered corner, and we might say, boy, they really could draft defensive players, couldn't they? But that's not the way it is right now.
Yeah, and maybe they hit on these picks that they got in the Micah, and maybe that thing looks different.
Yeah, or package them. People keep saying, well, that's going to be a low pick. Yes, it's going to be a low pick. You don't have to use it there.
Correct.
You can put it with something else and move on.
Yeah.
And I think we're more likely to do that.
Brad, I love doing this, and I appreciate it. Very busy week. Friday's still a busy day because you all had, and you never know with the Cowboys, but I appreciate you doing this. Last thing I had for you is, did you and Babe Laufenberg, obviously y'all have such a great friendship, and it's been really special to kind of watch over the years. Did that, was it the chemistry there from day one, or was that like a work in progress, like anything? You had to iron out some things, or was it like, hey, this is going to work immediately? What is it like for two guys like that?
Right away, Babe's very easy to work with, and he had done some things he was doing when I was still with Dale Hansen. Babe was doing the post-game. He might have been doing the pre-game show also, but he was doing the post-game show. And then in 92 and 93, he came in when we got into maybe the championship game and the Super Bowl, and we had a 3-man booth. So we had started to work him in, but he started working like Staubach did at real estate. Babe started while he was playing, actively understanding that this was something he would like to do, and he worked at it while he was still an active player. So then you put that with his personality, and but Matt, I'll tell you, I've been very, very lucky. I've had 4 full-time partners in 47 years, and I've had, is that right, Vern, Dale, Babe, and 1 year with Charlie Waters. I've had tremendous chemistry. Vern actually gave me the gift of a great chance to show him that I could do it. And Vern and I are incredibly good friends today. I've had great chemistry with every one of those guys, and we never had to work at it. We never had to work at it. It just, the job was always important to them. They knew it was important to me. I recognize that part of my job is to give the analyst an opportunity to succeed, and their styles. I mean, I was the so-called analyst with Vern, but with Dale and Charlie and Babe. I mean, with Babe and Charlie, we were friends before because of their playing days, but the chemistry just comes, and there hasn't been a minute of work to do any of that with any of those guys.
I just wonder, was Vern already kind of a minimalist at that point? Would he say things like "oh my" and some of these famous things that he said in golf over the years?
Yeah, but keep in mind, some of those calls were on television. He didn't actually describe the play.
Yeah.
But one of his classic calls was Jackie Smith dropping the touchdown pass in the Super Bowl. Bless his heart, he's got to be the sickest man in America. But, I mean, he did it differently. But let me tell you, he was one of two great mentors that I've had, neither of whom set out to be a mentor, and just learned from them beyond my ability to describe it. Frank Lieber was the other one, God rest him. And
wow.
And they sitting next to Vern for 8 years and watching him do what we do, and just soaking up everything about the way he did it, that I would have had to have been the product of a lumber yard, not to have figured something out about how to do it from that. He's the best.
Were you ever at the bowling alley when he did Bowling for Dollars?
No, I wasn't. I don't think I was living here then, but I'll tell you, we did when I was at KRLD 1 year, they sold a show on a feature on Monday nights after Tex Schramm's radio show, which Frank did until he passed, and then I did it. They sold a feature where I would go to Sanger Harris and do live Q&As with fans. They would come up, and we're at Sanger Harris, and I called him, and so it's just me like talking to fans. They may or may not know anything. I called Vern and I said, "Look, this Bowling for Dollars, you have made that a gold mine for yourself. How do you do it?" And typical of Vern, he gave me just a great piece of advice. He said, "What you just remember is, for the people that you talk to, this may be the most glamorous thing that happens to them in their life. They're going to get a chance to talk live to you on the radio. And most of them have probably never been on the radio and never thought about it. And this is their big chance to shine. And so just treat it like that and treat them with respect." And of course, that was the absolute right approach. And it's what he did in Bowling for Dollars, because those were some colorful people that he had that he interacted with on Bowling for Dollars. And that was the approach he took. And as usual with Vern, it's the right one.
Brad, I really appreciate it. You look great.
Thanks.
And I need to find out what you're doing, because I'd like to get there myself. But hey, appreciate you doing this, and it was a great visit. I really enjoyed it. We'll do it again next Friday.
Yeah, really nice. It's good to see you. Thank you.
Okay, there he goes, Brad Sham, the legendary Cowboys voice of the Cowboys, longtime friend, and. I hadn't had Brad on in a while, so I just thought, you know what, it's a Friday. Let's let this thing hang. I'm not sure he bargained for going quite that long, but anyway.
If you want the best for your body, you want Ascension Providence, the largest sports and orthopedics group in Central Texas. Using innovative and cutting-edge technology, we're able to understand your body better than ever, delivering treatment with precision. Working with our fellowship-trained and board-certified doctors, you'll receive excellent care. Work with a team dedicated to your health, wellness, and safety.
So you can perform.
At your best.
Ascension Providence, caring for Texas families for over 120 years.
Drive in the fall at Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Waco. Huge savings and the best selection in Central Texas. From powerful Ram trucks, Motor Trend's Truck of the Year, to adventure-ready Jeeps and stylish new Dodges, we've got the right ride for you. Upgrading, downsizing, or buying your very first vehicle, Allen Samuels has you covered with friendly service and deals that make driving fun. Don't miss the Drive in the Fall event, only at Allen Samuels.
Come by, let's be friends.
When Central National Bank decided to partner with Baylor women's basketball, we didn't know exactly what that partnership would look like.
What brings you into the bank today?
For the last couple of months, I've been noticing a charge on my account, and I would like to block it.
I see. So you have a charge.
Yes?
And you'd like to block it?
Yes.
I think you should take the charge.
What?
Yeah, I definitely think you should take the charge.
I don't think you understand.
Sometimes you just have to take one for the team.
Is there a manager available?
We love that Coach Colin is all about the team. Once we get the vocabulary down, the sky's the limit.
Central National Bank, proud partner of Baylor Athletics and Baylor women's basketball.
I have Mac Rhodes, director of Baylor Athletics, on the phone. Mac, can you tell Peggy why she should take the charge?
Of course she should take the charge. Wait, are you at the bank again? And who is Peggy?
Football is back, and Underdog is the best place to make picks and win money all season long. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, receiving yards, interceptions, and more. Get your picks right, and you could win up to 5,000 times your cash. You can play with as little as $1. Download the app today and sign up with promo code Mosley to score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code MOSLEY. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog, make picks, win money.
Must be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play-and-get-terms_DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 HOPE line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. That's 467-369.